Hello and welcome back to True Crime Guys podcast. I'm your host, Michael, and I drug Andy in here with me again today.
Kicking and screaming.
That's right.
I don't have my shoes anymore.
Andy, you are chilled out today.
Got linen pants on.
Yeah, you are bumming
it's
it
like
today, bro. Relax over there.
Feels like a summertime pool party already.
I think you need to pop open a beer.
I debated a tank top today.
That might not have been a bad idea, but it's really not that warm today in the Carolinas. It's kind of a weird, chilly day in May. What the heck?
Springtime, bitches.
Typical Carolina spring.
Right.
They don't know what the hell.
Yesterday was summer. Today it's fall. We'll figure it out.
There you go. But guys, before we get into this insane case today, which was a suggestion, by the way, I got to remind you that you can catch these episodes early and ad-free on Patreon. That's patreon.com/truecrimeguys, where you can catch these episodes early, ad-free, which is probably the best freaking, what's something, perk.
Perk,
it's the best perk I'm looking for, honestly. Ad-free is probably the best.
Perk-Cola.
That's right, with bonus content. Me and Andy chatted for, about 15 and a half minutes or so before this episode started. We put all that bonus content at the end of every episode on Patreon, patreon.com/truecrimeguys. But you can also check out our other shows here on the free platform, like Strange and Unexplained and Cryptic Soup with Thina and Kylie. New episodes of Cryptic Soup come out every Wednesday, so make sure you give them a follow on Instagram as well, at Cryptic Soup Pod. Oh, news about Strange and Unexplained. Strange and Unexplained is back and up and running everywhere. We got it. It's back on. The RSS feed has been fixed. We did announce a couple episodes ago, maybe for the last 2 episodes, that we were going to move Strange and Unexplained to Patreon exclusively, but we've decided to keep it on the free platform, and it's all good. It's all back the way it was, okay? No harm done.
No harm, no foul.
No harm, no foul. And hopefully we'll have new episodes of that show coming out soon. But there's got to be 140, 150-something episodes of Strange and Unexplained out already. But guys, also give us a follow on social media at True Crime Guys, wherever you follow people.
I mean, we're pretty much everywhere except for MySpace. Like I keep campaigning for.
Start us on MySpace, Andy. We'll start advertising it. Do they still allow you to put your favorite song?
Oh no, I'm going to spark up my old Dell PC and let's get this thing going.
Seriously. Your old Dell workbook. Before we get into today's case, it was sent to me by Thina, but it's a case suggestion on Instagram from @LucySpores. So, Lucy, thank you very much for this case suggestion. I looked into it, and I was like, wow, this is perfect timing, because we're going to do it. Mm-hmm. It is, it's a doozy. This is a true crime podcast, so there is gruesome details in this case, along with rape and murder and all sorts of things like that, Andy.
Gonna go ahead and give you one of those little gold star warnings.
It's one of those little warnings.
Give you some warnings up front, guys.
That's right. Today, we're talking the murder of Lindsay Hawker. And this was a crime that honestly united 2 nations for a little while, albeit in despair.
Yeah.
But today we're looking at the case of Tatsuya Ichihashi and his victim, Lindsay Hawker. This case reached nationwide status when, after killing Hawker, Tatsuya went on the run, even obtaining plastic surgery to avoid detection from police. And it would actually take police years to catch him, 2.5 years to be exact, Andy.
Jeez.
He went on quite a run. He actually wrote a book about it, which we'll talk about later. Yeah.
It's always crazy. It's even the first
I couldn't read it. It's in Japanese.
Yeah, Google Translate going. Yeah. It's even the first time we've even covered it's crazy. This is not the first time we've covered a killer who literally went and got plastic surgery while on the run to try and avoid detection even further. It's like that is just because, but that used to be such like a science fiction idea.
Probably way more do. It's just a lot of them don't get caught because they probably do some drastic plastic surgery.
Yeah.
Or the surgeon doesn't recognize them and then turn them in. Okay, last spoiler. Roll the intro, Andy. Let's get into it.
Fine.
Purpose is to remind everybody, both in Tokyo and also that our daughter's murderer is still out there.
He enticed her into his apartment. He said he raped and then strangled her because he feared her screams would prompt neighbors to call the police.
We're very concerned that he hasn't been caught. We're very concerned that he might do this again. He has ruined our family. We would not like to see other families put through what we have been through.
He changed his appearance with extensive cosmetic surgeries to try and avoid detection. He wrote a book about the operations and his time on the run.
Please keep looking. It will only take one lead to find this man. And if anybody's watching this and is protecting him, don't protect him. He doesn't deserve protection. He needs to be brought to justice for what he's done.
All right, Andy. So, although we'll end up in Japan, we're gonna start over in England, in a city called Coventry. I think I pronounced that right, Coventry.
Oh yeah, Coventry. Yeah,
Coventry.
That's fine.
I'm probably not saying it quick enough, but I'm Southern, so
there's no shires in there. I think we're all right.
I'm playing on half speed already.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But it starts in a city called Coventry, known for its medieval cathedrals and also the destruction of a lot of the town during World War II. But the torn city has really bounced back in the last few decades, and they become quite the engineering powerhouse to the UK. And this proud city was home of Lindsay Hawker. Lindsay was born on December 30th, 1984, to her father Bill and her mother Julia Hawker. She was a happy kid. She had two sisters named Louise and Lisa. She attended school at a private school, King Henry VIII, and she studied biology in college. She actually had a pretty well-off childhood.
Okay.
Yeah, her parents weren't rich, I would say, but wealthy.
Upper middle class.
Upper middle class, at least. But Lindsay had a lot going for her. She was bright, she was nurturing, caring, and successful. But she wanted to try something new. She wanted to expand her horizons a little bit. So, about middle of 2006, she came up with a plan to go abroad. She decided to take a year out of her busy schedule and do a little bit of traveling. She figured that a year out of the education field would maybe, give her a fresh perspective to life in general and make sure that's something she wanted to do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So in October of 2006, she signed up to Nova Teaching School and was on her way to Japan. Now, real quick, Nova is Japan's largest private English school. I was unfamiliar.
Wow.
Yeah, I never heard of it, but why would we, I guess? But they recruit adults from around the world to teach the language in both Osaka and Tokyo. Nova is considered to be a prestigious assignment, and Lindsay was one of the lucky few who managed to grab a spot after touching down in Tokyo.
Okay.
So pretty cool. Great opportunity. She's only 22 years old. This is an amazing opportunity. So it's like halfway through her college.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I like that idea. I still wish to this day that I could have taken one of those years to be like, I'm gonna go take a gap year, or I'm gonna go travel for a year. I'm gonna go do an internship in some other foreign country. I feel like it does. I feel like that truly is a way to really grow yourself at that point in your life, to really expand your horizons, to be like, I've been here in this one area for so long. And at that point in your life, I feel like your brain is just perfect for being, not like indoctrinated, but just being fully engulfed and just immersed in a completely different culture and learning all this stuff. So
you're still excited about it.
Yeah.
You're like, this could be me.
Yeah.
It's like everywhere you move, you're like, this could be me.
I could do
I
this.
could be Japan, Michael.
Yes.
I could be England, Michael.
Right.
Who knows? Exactly. But Lindsay was finally assigned to Kaiwa, which is a district in the Edogawa ward of Tokyo. And she really couldn't have been happier with the location. But the prices were a little high. Rent was a little steep in this area. So eventually she decided to move a little further east, a little further from the Tokyo center, to a place called Chiba, where rent was a lot cheaper. She also moved in with two other teachers, both of them also working at another school, and very quickly the three of them became friends. They looked out for each other. They had a lot in common, And it was 6 months into her stay in Tokyo, in March of 2007, that Lindsay had a really awkward encounter. She had finished work for the day and traveled back to Chiba Station before collecting her bike. And as she was unlocking her bike, a man walked up to her from behind. When she turned around, the man said, "You're my English teacher." Lindsay was kind of confused because she was absolutely certain he was not one of her students.
And he said it in French. It was kind of strange.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think we are definitely wrong.
You might be mistaken. But no, she awkwardly declined to comment to him at all and just got on her bike and tried to ride away, but the man continued following her. She sped up, he started jogging, and eventually was running beside her or behind her while she's on her bike, dude. And with the foot and street traffic and whatnot, it was almost impossible for her to get away from him.
Yeah, for real.
She couldn't pull away.
This is like a really awkward, terrifying experience to like, all right, I'm just leaving. I'm getting on my bike. I'm riding away. And like somebody who was walking after you literally starts chasing you through the street.
And then you got to think like, should I even go home?
Yeah. Where am I supposed to go?
Where am I supposed to go?
He's following me everywhere I go and I can't even get away.
Right?
And it's not even like
you've never seen him before.
Yeah. And it's not even like it's an empty street at night or something like that where it's like, I can try and get away and nobody's around. No. It's like, you can't even go anywhere because everybody's blocking your path and it's just like this huge crowd. So you almost want to say like, start fucking screaming. Yeah. Just be like, get the fuck away from me.
Yeah. Well, check this out.
In Japanese, maybe.
Right. So this whole time, he's continuing to try and talk to her. He's trying to start a conversation, asking Lindsay where she was from and where she studied. And when she eventually reached her apartment, he caught up with her. And he asked if she'd be interested in providing him with English lessons. At that point, I'd have been like, I thought I was your English teacher.
Yeah,
Get the fuck away from me.
I thought I already was providing you with English lessons.
Right.
You should already know where I've studied. You should already know where I'm from. I've already told this to my class.
Exactly. But she was polite. You know, she was just trying to be polite, I guess. He felt like he needed a little bit of help with the language, he said. He said that they could meet in a cafe and he'd pay her by the hour. And Lindsay politely refused. So Tatsuya was disappointed, but he wasn't deterred. He asked her another question. He said, could you get me a glass of water at least? I mean, I ran all this way. She's like, yeah, no. I wish you wouldn't have. Yeah, dumbass. Get out of here.
There's a fucking hose out back.
Yeah, really. And Lindsay was naturally hesitant, but she ended up allowing him into the apartment. And, you know, she figured she's got 2 roommates, so, you know, she's not alone in there.
Yeah, I still.
You know? And this was a good opportunity to show him that she doesn't live alone.
Yes, but at the same time, it's the same. Like, just don't ever let somebody inside your apartment. Right. Don't ever. It's just fucking. I know we're doing this. You know, in hindsight's 2020, but just the option of just being like, no.
But in hindsight, it was good that they saw his face.
Yeah, that's the only real thing too.
It was good that the roommates saw his face. But the two entered the apartment together, and after the water, he made another offer. This time, it came with a price. He said he would pay Lindsay 3,500 yen, or $32 an hour, and it would be strictly business. And honestly, with the money Lindsay was making, this was an offer she couldn't refuse. At $32 an hour, she could really use the extra cash.
And I
get, you know what I'm saying? And he's talking about meeting in a public place, you know? So she agreed. But... She agreed. She decided to meet him at a coffee shop a few days later. And Tatsuya was ecstatic, bro. He was stoked. But before he'd leave her apartment, he wanted to give her one last thing. And this is so freaking weird, but also another good thing that he did this. He pulled out a pen from his back pocket and he grabbed some paper on the counter and he started scribbling something on it. A few moments later, he hands it to Lindsay, and on it was a sketch of her. Kind of a poorly drawn sketch of her. It looks kind of goofy, honestly. There's pictures of it online. Guys, please go check it out. But on the side of it, it had his name, his actual name, first and last, and phone number.
Okay, amateur. Yeah. Let's do this. Yeah.
So, and the name was Tatsuya Ichihashi. Okay? So let's talk about old Tatsuya, shall we? He was 28 years old at the time, from the city of Ichikawa, which was located in the Chiba Prefecture, which is where she was living right now. He was born in Gifu Prefecture on the 5th of January, 1979, and initially grew up there before moving to Chiba.
And remember, guys, he wrote all of this on that little sketch when he handed it to her.
Yes, all of this, just like this. That's where I got the information from.
Yeah, this was all on the sketch.
Yeah, I had it translated from Japanese. But he was born into a successful family. His father was a doctor at a local hospital, and his mom was a dentist. In his younger years, Tatsuya had ambitions to follow his father's footsteps and become a doctor himself, but when he failed his exams for the degree, he kind of decided, I'll just get a degree in horticulture.
Yeah, it's like, why try this a second time? I'm good with plants.
Yeah, it's fine. So he graduated from Chiba University in 2005, and although he passed his degree, he didn't find work. Not because he couldn't, he just didn't. He just was like, nah. I'm just going to live on an allowance from my parents, which was 100,000 yen a month or $920.
I mean, that's still
in 2006, $920, you can get by all right.
I mean, yeah, still.
You get by all right. You got what bills do you have?
I just love the notion of being like, I'm going to be a doctor. You're not very good at it. I'm going to be a plant doctor. Like, why? I don't know. They don't scream when I fuck up.
I don't know.
Nobody's parents get mad that you killed their seedlings.
At least they don't voice it.
Yes. There's no malpractice lawsuits.
Right. So he's living on this allowance, right? He also had no previous convictions. And he had been the subject of an allegation of prior theft and injury, though. Allegedly, okay, he had assaulted a woman on the street during a robbery, but the matter had been settled out of court. Allegedly, his father paid the woman off, and he paid her around 1 million yen or 10,000 American dollars to make this go away.
It's one of the it's like, why would this guy? You think like he's already if he's robbing somebody violently.
Yeah,
it's like, why do you need this, dude? You already had if you had the good enough life to just kind of chill out. What do you need? What are you doing this for, other than the thrill of it?
Kicks.
Yeah,
never been told no, man. But yeah, he was described as a loner with an obsession for exercise, which great, right? It's just what you need, a crazy loner who also stays in shape.
Right, yeah. Right.
Tatsuya regularly attended his local gym, and he cycled over 25 kilometers almost every day.
Right.
Yeah.
Fucking great. Just Iron Man.
Perfect.
Shit.
That's how he was able to chase her home and have a conversation.
Yeah, he's just fucking Terminator sprinting the whole time, just no open mouth.
So, where are you from?
Where are you from? Huh?
Oh, that's good.
That's cool. It's cool. Uh-huh.
Where'd you go to school? Interesting.
I keep my pulse at a steady $6 million man run the whole time.
Yeah, seriously. So let's fast forward a few days after Tatsuya was at Lindsay's apartment. It's now Saturday, March 24th, 2007. They'd arranged for their first English lesson in a local coffee shop, and CCTV captured the two conversing while in line to grab a drink. There's footage of this online as well. It's pretty interesting. Lindsay seemed relaxed, but in the video you can obviously see her step backwards. Like he moves a little close, like to say something to her, and when he does, he like kind of startles her, and she takes a full step back.
Yeah,
for real. It's pretty obvious. But the pair sat and talked for a little while, actually over an hour, and it seemed like things were going okay. And when they were ready to leave, Tatsuya awkwardly realized that he'd forgotten his wallet. Oh, gosh darn, Andy.
Oh,
Jesus. No worries, he said. I only live half a mile down the road. Why don't you come by and grab your money, and then you'll be on your way? Because, he had to pay her for the hour, right?
So, John, again, just being like, no, you'll just pay me double next time.
Yeah,
Don't forget next time, or we won't do this again.
Yeah, exactly.
Never go to the second location.
Lindsay agreed, and so the two hopped into a taxi. When she arrived at Tatsuya's, she asked the taxi driver if he'd wait outside for her. She was only going to be a minute. So he agreed, and Lindsay followed Tatsuya into his apartment. Now, several minutes had passed. Lindsay still hadn't returned. So the taxi driver thought, well, maybe she had a change of plans. I can't wait around all day. Like, I got to go.
Yeah.
I don't know if he honked the horn or, even if he did, we know in hindsight nothing would have happened, and he would have left.
Yeah. The only thing you could have done would be actually to get out and go and knock on the door and be like, hey, you told me to wait. Are you coming? Like, what's going on? And if you don't get a response, you need to call the police. Like, you need to, that would be the only thing to be like, I just watched
maybe, or maybe they went inside and fell asleep. Who are you?
The thing is, like, if it's only been a few minutes and she said, wait for me, I'm only going to be a few minutes, and then a few minutes goes by, like, that's when you're saying, like, what could have happened? Like, the only thing you could have done, go knock on the door and be like, hey, you coming back out?
Right.
If not, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
And if you don't get a response, if, like, you don't hear anything in that house but, maybe panic and sounds of chaos, you call the police.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those things where it's just, you asked a busy cab driver, can you wait a few minutes? And they were like, sure.
Yep.
All right, I got to go. I guess you're not coming back. So
as simple as that. That's all it was. It's like, there's some people in forums and whatnot that, like, oh, this cab driver should have done that. Why? What? Why would you assume that is happening?
Yeah, it's like, this is what you could have done.
A young couple got out of your cab and went to a thing. You would think, like, okay, maybe they were fooling around and they decided she was going to stay.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I don't know. Or maybe they're just in there talking and she decided to stay.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know.
Yeah, not what you should have done. There's only things you could have done, but either way, this is what happened.
But Lindsay failed to show up for work that afternoon, and she never made it back to her apartment either. Her roommates were already aware that she wasn't at work that day, and they were really starting to worry. So they called the police later that night to report her missing, but Saturday turned into Sunday, and Sunday turned into Monday. And friends and family of Lindsay were really starting to fear the worst. It was only after she missed a second day of work that they really started to panic. So the school contacted her parents to let them know that she had now missed 2 days in a row, and straight after that, they contacted the police themselves. Finally, the police were starting to take Lindsay's disappearance seriously. Police search efforts started at Lindsay's home, and the housemates were the first to be interviewed. And of course, they already had a suspect in mind, Andy.
Yeah, right. Here we have a picture that he drew, and it has a weird, detailed history of his life on it.
Yeah, and his name and address, most importantly, and his phone number. They knew that Lindsay went to see a man in a coffee shop shortly before she disappeared, and she'd also left his sketch back at the apartment. Now, it was around 5:40 p.m. that 2 officers were dispatched to Tatsuya's home, but after knocking on his door, no one answered. But his neighbors were at home, and they were like, yeah, come on over here. You can peer over our balcony onto his and look into his living room.
Yeah, we do it all the time.
Yeah, so the officers were able to see that there were no lights on the property, but there was somebody lurking around inside. And weirdly enough, there was a detachable bathtub on the balcony. Apparently, these apartments had detachable bathtubs.
Okay.
I don't really know how that's plumbed in. That's kind of interesting.
Or maybe it just had like an outdoor bathtub. It was like a patio bathtub type situation.
No, he drug it out from inside.
Okay.
Yep, that's why it was odd. That's why they're like, what's a bathtub out here?
How did you do that, Hulk?
Yeah, interesting. So on a hunch, the 2 officers called for backup. They were worried that maybe Lindsay was inside being held hostage or something. Within the hour, 7 more officers arrived. So we're 3 hours in now, 9 officers later. Tatsuya opens the door. Just opens the door. He's got a book bag on his back, and he's barefooted. He knew he was fucked.
Right. He's got a go bag on his shoulder, just like, oh, I thought you were my Uber.
God, no. Right? Should have checked my phone.
Fucking really thought you were my Uber.
But this was not the end for Tatsuya. He actually was able to wiggle past the police. 9 officers, dude.
Jesus Christ.
And all they were able to grab was his book bag.
What, did he fucking grease himself up before he got
got
there?
away.
Just going in the
Never want to catch me.
Just sitting in the kitchen, just pouring Crisco and just pouring all the vegetable oil all over himself, being like, all right, it's my fucking time now.
Dude.
Kicked open the door and just bodies slid through all their legs.
Fucking bullshit, bro. Somehow they got his damn book bag off, but he let it go. He was like, fuck it.
Like I said, he just slip and slided his way right through there, just on his belly, just all through the legs, shoot the gap.
Some bullshit. Seriously, it was as if he'd literally disappeared into thin air. And so now the hard part of the investigation begins, Andy.
I feel like that must have been just the most sad attempt of a police chase as well, too. Just being like, 9 officers, we're here. He just runs out past me like, are we supposed to chase him?
Also,
or are we supposed to like search the apartment? I can't remember.
Also,
what are we here for?
The officers had no radios.
Jesus, what the fuck?
Yeah, no radios. So they couldn't even radio to tell his direction. So by the time the word got out and they started searching, who knows where he was, dude? You're talking inner city Tokyo, dude.
But this is 2006, man. I mean, just fucking walkie-talkies have been around for a hot minute.
I know. I don't know why they didn't have any radios. Doesn't make sense. 9 officers?
This is
no
Tokyo.
Radio? 9 officers?
This is Tokyo. You guys have always been ahead of us in the technology game.
Yeah.
Where do you think we got those Nokia phones from?
So I'm sure they dispatched the team to go search for him, but they also started searching the property. And man, were they in for a scene. They found the naked body of Lindsay Hawker. She was buried in Tatsuya's detachable bathtub, which he had drug out onto the balcony. The tub had been filled with a mixture of sand and soil, almost entirely covering Lindsay. Only her right hand was exposed barely at the surface. Along with the sand and the soil, it also contained a decomposing agent to speed up the process of decomp. And flower seeds were placed on top to disguise the bathtub as a flower bed. And it was also strangely noted that Tatsuya had shaved Lindsay's head.
Okay.
Yeah. Police would also discover several wigs in his apartment, alleging maybe he was a crossdresser or maybe he wore these wigs to commit crimes. Who knows? But soon after, rumors started circulating that maybe Tatsuya had killed Lindsay just for her hair.
Just to wear her hair? Ugh. Oh my God, this is some Buffalo Bill shit from Silence of the Lambs.
It is.
I want to wear your hair.
It's creepy. By the next morning, Tatsuya Ichihashi was officially a wanted man across all of Japan.
Surprised it wasn't also England at this point.
Yeah, well, England was pretty fired up too.
Yeah.
Especially here in a little bit. Especially here in a little bit. Police distributed wanted posters across the city, and his face was shown across multiple news outlets. But despite these efforts, Tatsuya was nowhere to be found. Hardly any sightings of the man were reported over the following weeks. In fact, all of them turned out to be dead ends. So police decided to release photoshopped images of Tatsuya wearing wigs, just in case maybe, I don't know, he's out in drag or he's wearing one of these wigs. Yeah. But Tatsuya,
I do love that.
But Tatsuya was good at going unnoticed. In fact, he was so good at evading the police that his disappearance turned into weeks to months into eventually 2.5 years.
I wish more police departments would just do that with wanted posters of just being like,
just
okay,
put up all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah, this is what he looks like normally. This is what he would look like as a pirate. This is what he would look like as an astronaut.
This is him as a half orc.
Just literally just all these.
This is him as a high elf.
I love the notion of being like, well, he had a bunch of wigs in his apartment, so maybe we should like put a dress on him and put a wig on him in his picture.
This is him as a Funko Pop.
This is him as George W. Bush.
Have fun with it. No. All right, back to the story, Andy. You're adding too much levity.
Too much levity.
Yeah. But this frustrated, this whole, dropping the ball for 2.5 years, it tends to frustrate a family seeking solace, seeking justice.
Right.
Right? And they felt that the Japanese police were growing lazy. Lindsay's family, by the way, and sloppy in their investigations. And just months after her death, Lindsay's parents traveled to Japan and assisted in raising awareness around Lindsay's murder. Her father, Bill, even met with members of the Japanese mafia, dude, the Yakuza.
Good damn.
He gave him a couple bottles of whiskey and was like, hey, I'll make it worth your while if you find my daughter's Kelly.
That's some badass shit. That's a dad move right there.
Seriously, that's kind of cool.
That's like some Liam Neeson shit right there. It's like,
right?
That's a dad who has a sketchy past who doesn't, he's like, I gotta make a phone call.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, he's just pulling up.
And he's British too.
You're just showing up to some Yakuza club with a really fancy bottle. It's just like, bows.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
I'm here for my favor.
You owe me. It's like, the fuck are we doing? Dad?
But as time went on, Japanese police soon found themselves in the center of the spotlight. I mean, honestly, Andy, most people were asking themselves, how did 9 police officers let one man slip by? Okay?
Again, yeah. Was he greased up? Just literally slipping by you guys like he was
right?
If so, this guy needs to be on the fucking rugby team somewhere. This man is a goddamn unit and cannot be brought down.
And why did they take a month to talk to witnesses? And also, the picture, the wanted poster picture that they were using was 7 years old.
They had nothing was more recent than we had the one that was 7 years old, and then we have the wig one. But
we had the photoshopped one.
It is the 7-year-old picture, but
yeah, exactly. They had nothing. So police and the Hawker family would slowly start to argue against each other, and soon British and Japanese media got involved too. So now it's a whole fiasco. And while all this was happening, Tatsuya was still out there. He had actually traveled across most of Japan during this time on the run, right down to the southern island of Okinawa. Tatsuya had remained unnoticed. He even lived on a remote island in a concrete bunker at times to avoid detection.
Yeah, that's shit. That's an old World War II bunker.
He would go back and forth from it. Like when he felt like the heat was rising somewhere, or maybe somebody recognized him, he'd run back to this bunker.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I bet that was like an old World War II bunker or something on the island.
Yeah. A year after Lindsay's death in 2008 and all the way into 2009, Tatsuya was in Osaka, located 250 miles west of Tokyo. And it was during this time that Tatsuya routinely visited internet cafes and worked on construction sites to get by. He was saving up for plastic surgery so he could change his appearance. However, he had actually already tried to change his appearance. Well, he did, actually, through self-mutilation. It was kind of brutal. He actually cut the moles off his face, and then he used scissors to cut off part of his lower lip to make it appear thinner.
Jesus Christ.
And then sewed a thread through his nose to alter the shape. And there are back-to-back photos. If you look up the Murderpedia link, or I have it tagged in the sources actually, like right below the description of the episode, there's a Murderpedia link. Click on that, and you can see the before and after his plastic surgery. Yeah. Yes.
His not-so-plastic surgery, his real fucking raw surgery.
Yeah, exactly. So by the summer of 2009, police were desperate. They were desperate for anything. They got to find this mofo. It was here that they released a new statement advising that Tatsuya had plastic surgery performed to his face and that people should be on the lookout for resemblances of Tatsuya. Resemblances, whatever the hell that means.
If he looks anywhere similar to this guy, like anything kind of similar, or maybe with a different color wig on.
But what's crazy, Andy, is it actually worked.
Right.
It actually worked. Because in October of 2009, a plastic surgeon located in Nagoya informed police that he believed that he had just worked on Tatsuya, and he had foolishly accepted to take a before and after picture of his operation.
Tatsuya had?
Yeah.
It's like, absolutely,
Yeah, so
Doc.
we sent both of them to the police.
Well, man, take a before and after so I can really show the progress.
Yeah, the photos were shared
work.
with the police and eventually the media. But what I find hilarious about this is that the plastic surgeon did the operation anyways. He's like, oh yeah, I mean, I did the operation. I took his money, but he looks like this now.
Yeah, so it's like,
and here's his pre one, so you know.
Yeah, it's like,
I wasn't going to pass up the money.
Yeah, I mean, I need to add a
right. It's like, why
portfolio.
didn't you call the cops when he came in? You freaking greedy bastard.
Wait till he pays. Wait till you put him under for anesthesia, and then call the cops.
There you go.
There you go. Let him wake up in handcuffs. There you go. That's a good shocking thing.
I just thought it was funny.
Wake up in handcuffs with bandages all over his face like he's the Joker and Batman
Yeah.
and be like, what'd you do to me? And just undo his bandages. Nothing.
So, exactly. So when these plastic surgery photos started circulating, Tatsuya was rattled by this, obviously, right? There's no way you could miss it. Not to mention his new face was already out there.
His new face.
Yeah. So he knew that the newly released photos by police had completely blown his cover. In fact, it was so successful that one of his colleagues back at a construction site in Osaka recognized him as well.
I do need to know. I'm sure you don't know the answer, but did they also put a wig on the new face for the new mug?
Sure they did.
That would have been so great just to be like, I mean, listen, we did it the first time. We can't be like, he still might do the wig thing.
Still might do the wig thing. So
here's his new face,
right?
And here's like an updated wig with like a more modern hairstyle. It's, this is like the hot summer style.
Right. But basically, Tatsuya knew that he had to get out of Osaka, and he needed to get out of there fast. So his plan was, just like his old plan, anytime he had a close call, he was going to go back to Okinawa and take refuge in one of those abandoned bunkers.
Right, there you go.
But on the 10th of November 2009, that's what he did. But when he reached the port in Okinawa, a dock worker also recognized his little face.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, this guy is like public enemy number one. Oh, yeah,
dude. I mean, he was number one wanted list in Japan at this time. And the dock worker informed security, and he was like, this is Ichihashi, I'm pretty sure. And they were right, because only moments later, Tatsuya came face to face with a handful of police officers. They asked him for his name, and he told them, yes, I am Tatsuya Ichihashi.
It's always a great sign sometimes when they get the guy, and he's just like, I just give up.
Yeah.
Just fucking
God damn it. He knew it. His face was everywhere. You couldn't go under the
both of
knife
them.
again. You can't even afford it. You could barely afford it the first time.
Yeah.
And you want to go cutting yourself up again?
Yeah,
I don't think you want to go through that again.
You're not affording this in Japan. We're get out of here, head to Turkey or some shit like that, get a discount.
But he was finally formally arrested by police and charged with abandoning a body initially, because they knew that for sure, right? But then he would later be served 2 more charges of rape and murder. It would take 8 months for him to finally meet his jury on the 4th of July, 2011. His deliberation wouldn't last too long, Andy, because Tatsuya admitted that he enticed Lindsay into his apartment. He raped her, and then he strangled her because he feared that neighbors would hear her scream and call the police. And on July 21st, 2011, Tatsuya Ichihashi was officially sentenced to life imprisonment for the murder of Lindsay Hawker. And although Lindsay's family had asked for the death penalty for Tatsuya, the court felt that the death penalty was not quite appropriate because he had no previous convictions, and at the age of 32, there was still a chance of rehabilitation. So they say, even though he had a troubled past that was hidden by his father.
I mean, to an extent, troubled past. He had one possible incident of a robbery, but again, he had never had any documented violent crimes against him. There was no other sexual assaults. There was no other instances like this.
But there was
documented
evidence of extensive planning. Like, let me give you an example of something I didn't mention earlier that just came to mind. When all the soil and the lime and the compost stuff that he put in the toilet, all the breakdown minerals, he went to a hardware store 7 different times to buy all that stuff.
Yeah. So
over the course of weeks.
So he was prepared to kill her that day. So
over the course of weeks.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Andy.
It's like
that's how long he planned this.
When he enticed her into that apartment, it was not for anything like he planned that I probably got to kill her this day.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to have her one way or the other.
Apparently. I think he just thought he would have more time to get out of there. I think when the police showed up at his apartment and he had to just go on the run, he was taken by surprise then. I think he thought he had more time.
I don't know how he would. Yeah, at the same time, it's one of those. It's poor. It shows a lot of planning, but then at the same time, poor planning to think that the girl you picked is going to be noticed. Like people are going to notice when she goes missing immediately. And it's not like you're kidnapping this girl off the street in the middle of the night where no one knows who you are. Like people know she's with you. Like it's not like it's one of those things where it's like you had to have known somewhere you were not going to have much time to get away from this. For the fact that she was already, in that bathtub, buried on the back porch, like pretty much ready to be, hidden over the weekend. So it's like he knew that he did not have much time.
No, he didn't. And before the trial, he actually had written and published a book confessing to Lindsay's murder and describing how he spent his 2.5 years on the run and how he avoided detection for so long. He says he did it as like a good gesture. The book was called Until I Was Arrested. And he actually offered all the royalties and profits from the book to Lindsay's family, but they actually rejected the offer. So, but they were wealthy as well. You know what I'm saying? They're like, fuck you and your money.
But it's also the idea they don't want to make money off of their daughter's death. It's a very similar kind of mentality.
Not only that.
They don't want anybody to.
Not only are you, would someone be profiting off your daughter's death, but also you would be giving advice to people how to get away from the police that wanted to commit a similar crime.
Yeah.
You're literally showing them what he did right, what he did wrong.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he's literally giving you a play-by-play of what he did. I'm surprised that book was allowed to be published.
Why would I put this out here? I mean, it's just like the OJ book. Why would I put this out here so more people can do this to other people's daughters? That's what I would be thinking if I was the father. Why the fuck? I want to burn this shit. Actually, I want to buy all the copies.
Yeah.
Actually.
Well, that's why one of the things because at least the OJ book came out much later. It came out after the trial. It came out after he was acquitted and all those things.
Yeah,
so he was allowed to do this. But no, this is what I'm almost wondering. It's like before the trial, he had written and published this book. So I'm like, I'm even confused. I'm even almost confused at like how would they even allow this book to be published before the trial?
Yeah.
Like if he
it wasn't published before. It was probably just written, but published afterwards. But it was completely written before.
Yeah,
and it was. I'm pretty sure it was taken into consideration.
Yeah, to be like, why would you release this book? Like to even like if he is detailing how he described. Anything. Yeah, he's detailing and describing how he avoided detection, where he went, what he did, and stuff like that. It's like you're going to give other future criminals ideas.
Yeah, exactly.
To how to build off of that.
Right.
So.
Yeah, it's and not in a cool way like Breaking Bad does.
No, you're not. Yeah. You're not doing this in a cool way, winning Emmys from it.
No, absolutely not. But if you want to do your deodorant in a cool way, you should do it in the Oh My Gaia way.
Oh My Gaia could win an Emmy if they had a commercial.
No doubt.
If there was a whole show about Oh My Gaia, it'd win an Emmy.
Oh My Gaia is an innovative, all-natural deodorant, fragrance, and beard oil company specializing in paraben and aluminum-free products. Guys, there's tons of scents to choose from at Oh My Gaia, like vanilla, cherry almond, sandalwood, lavender, lemongrass, Egyptian musk. There's bergamot amber, pear, sweet pea, sailor, barbershop, and true crime pine. One of my personal favorites. I'm a little biased. But because you guys are True Crime Guys listeners, you can use the code word CRIMEPINE for 15% off your order. That's CRIMEPINE. All one word, no spaces, CRIMEPINE. And that's 15% off your order at ohmygaia.com. OHMYGAIA.com. Again, use that code word CRIMEPINE True Crime Guys listeners, and you will get 15% off some of the best all-natural deodorant you can get your hands on. You can get in your pits.
You can get in your pits, wherever you really want to put it. You can put it anywhere. Don't eat it, but you can.
Don't. It's safe, but but it's for your pits. But guys, also, thank you for listening. Don't forget to check out Patreon, patreon.com/True Crime Guys, where you could have heard this episode maybe yesterday, maybe a couple days ago. Who knows? But it would have been early, it would have been ad-free, and it would have had some bonus content on that bad boy for your listening pleasure. Again, that's patreon.com/True Crime Guys. Don't forget our other shows, Strange and Unexplained and Cryptic Soup, wherever you listen to podcasts. Am I forgetting anything, Andy?
I don't think you are, Michael. I think you kind of nailed that one right there. You're getting you're becoming such a professional at this.
Finally.
You really know how to sign off.
Almost a decade in. I'm almost learning how to sign off. Thank you.
You're finally getting the hang of this.
I am. All right, guys. Well, I guess that's it. We'll see you next week with another True Crime Guys case. And until then, I guess you have to keep on creeping, Andy.
All right. Bye.